10 Traits of People Who Speak Less. Stoicism. Ever wonder how some people possess a calm, magnetic power that draws everyone to them? They don't need to shout to be heard. Their quiet presence speaks louder than words. They're not the ones filling the room with noise, yet you can't help but be captivated by their aura. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of these quiet individuals as we explore the 10 traits of people who speak less, inspired by the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Together, we'll uncover how silence isn't just a lack of words. It's a powerful tool that can sharpen your mind, strengthen your resilience, and enhance your relationships. We'll challenge the myth that being loud equals confidence and reveal how mastering silence can become your greatest asset in life. If you're ready to elevate your communication, find inner peace, and unlock your true potential, stay with us as we journey into the power of silence. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, comment, keep it up below, and share it with someone who needs this message. Lesson 1. Silent Strategy. Outsmart with Quiet Power. Let's explore Lesson 1. Silent Strategy. Outsmart with Quiet Power. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." The power of silence has long been underestimated in a world where talking often equates to confidence, but the truth is, those who understand the value of silence know its strategic power. Silence allows you to observe, listen, and gather critical insights before making a move. In a world filled with endless chatter, silence can be a tool for clarity and control. It helps you stay focused on what truly matters and prevents you from acting impulsively, ensuring that every word and action carries weight. This quiet approach doesn't mean passivity or weakness. It's a calculated strength that gives you an advantage in every conversation, negotiation, or interaction. In today's fast-paced society, people are often in a rush to respond, to be heard, or to prove their point. But those who speak less and listen more tend to absorb much more of what's happening around them. Take, for example, the quiet leader who listens carefully during a meeting. While others are busy making noise and trying to dominate the discussion, the silent leader observes body language, picks up on subtleties in tone, and waits for the right moment to speak. When they finally do, their words carry more authority and insight because they've taken the time to gather all the information. Modern life is filled with distractions, constant notifications, social media, the 24-hour news cycle, each vying for your attention. But the ability to tune out the noise and stay silent when necessary allows you to cut through the clutter and focus on the essentials. Silence grants you the time to reflect, consider your options, and respond with wisdom. As Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This idea is deeply embedded in Stoic philosophy. By controlling your internal reactions rather than being controlled by external noise, you gain the upper hand in any situation. Applying this in modern life could mean learning to pause before responding in an argument, carefully listening to your partner, or being patient in moments of frustration. The silence you choose in these situations isn't passive. It's a powerful act of self-control that shifts the dynamic in your favor. It creates space for you to think clearly and react with intention, rather than falling into emotional outbursts or rash decisions. In relationships, this kind of silence can lead to deeper connections, as it shows you're listening intently, not just waiting to respond. In business, it can position you as a thoughtful, strategic thinker, someone who isn't swayed by every passing trend or distraction. Moreover, silence often creates an air of mystery and intrigue. When you speak less, people become more curious about what you think. It forces others to fill in the gaps, making your words and actions stand out when you do choose to engage. In contrast, those who constantly talk often dilute their message, making it harder for others to take them seriously. By practicing silent strategy, you maintain a sense of calm control, allowing you to steer conversations and outcomes to your advantage. In our world today, where quick responses and instant gratification are the norms, mastering the art of silence feels revolutionary. It allows you to rise above the noise, process information deeply, and act with precision. Silence doesn't just buy you time, it gives you power, the power to observe, to reflect, and to respond wisely. It's a strategic advantage that goes beyond mere words, shaping how you're perceived and how effectively you can influence outcomes. So my advice to you, as someone who wants to develop a higher level of communication and mental sharpness, is this. Practice the art of silence in your daily life. When you're tempted to react impulsively, pause. When conversations grow heated, listen instead of speaking first. You'll find that your words carry more meaning, your relationships deepen, and your ability to navigate challenges becomes much more effective. As Lao Tzu said, silence is a source of great strength. Let this silent strategy be your quiet superpower, and watch how the dynamics around you shift in your favor. Lesson 2. Eliminating distractions. Find inner peace. Imagine waking up in the morning, and before your feet even hit the floor, your phone buzzes with notifications, emails, and endless reminders of everything you need to do today. Sound familiar? In our modern world, this constant influx of information can leave us feeling overwhelmed, like we're juggling too many things at once, and often we end up dropping the ball. But what if I told you that inner peace, that elusive sense of calm you've been chasing, can actually be found through one powerful principle: eliminating distractions? It might sound simple, but this practice is deeply rooted in the wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy that has guided some of the most resilient minds in history. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, knew that a calm mind was the foundation of a strong, peaceful life. He said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This quote is a reminder that we are not victims of our busy environment. Our minds are the one thing we can control amidst the chaos. Distractions, whether they're external like social media and constant alerts, or internal like self-doubt and anxiety, chip away at our mental focus. They rob us of the ability to be present, to reflect, and to make meaningful decisions. But how do we go about decluttering our minds? How do we eliminate these distractions and create space for inner peace? It starts with intention and the deliberate act of simplifying our environment and thoughts. Let me take you through a story that perfectly illustrates this idea in modern life. A friend of mine, a successful entrepreneur, was always drowning in tasks, emails, and meetings. He never had time to stop and think. He was always reacting. One day, he decided to take a step back. He cleared his calendar for an entire day, turned off his phone, and sat down with a journal. In that quiet space, without distractions pulling him in different directions, he was able to gain clarity on what truly mattered. That day of stillness led him to restructure his entire business, which not only brought him more success but also allowed him to spend more quality time with his family. What he discovered was that by eliminating distractions, he wasn't just more productive, he was more present, more focused, and ultimately more at peace. So, how does this apply to you? You don't need to be an entrepreneur to practice this. Start small. Take a look at your daily routine and ask yourself, what's pulling my attention away from what truly matters? Is it your phone? Is it negative thoughts? Is it unnecessary tasks? Once you identify these distractions, consciously start to remove them or limit their impact. Maybe it means putting your phone on airplane mode during certain hours, or maybe it's setting aside time each day to reflect without interruptions. The goal is to create moments of stillness, where your mind can breathe and focus on what's important. But eliminating distractions isn't just about removing things, it's about cultivating mindfulness. By paying attention to where your thoughts drift, you can regain control of your mental landscape. For instance, when you catch yourself worrying about things you can't control, like the outcome of an event or what others think of you, remember what Epictetus said. We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. This mindset shift allows you to let go of mental clutter and focus on what you can influence: your thoughts, your actions, your attitude. The beauty of this practice is that it leads to a sense of freedom. When you stop being a slave to distractions, you create space for what truly matters: peace, clarity, and growth. It allows you to handle life's challenges with grace because your mind is clear and you're not bogged down by unnecessary noise. You start to realize that inner peace isn't something you find by adding more to your life. It's something you discover by subtracting what doesn't serve you. As you go about your day, think about this. What distractions can you eliminate to bring more focus and peace into your life? How can you create moments of stillness that allow your mind to rest and recharge? By consciously decluttering your thoughts and environment, you're not only practicing a key Stoic principle, but you're also laying the foundation for a more fulfilling life. As Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Don't waste your time on distractions. Instead, invest it in cultivating the calm and focus that will unlock your full potential. The lesson here is simple yet profound. By eliminating distractions, you make room for what truly matters. You gain clarity, you unlock your inner peace, and you live with purpose. Lesson 3. Silent Authority. Unspoken Power. Let's take a deeper look into gear. Lesson 3. Silent Authority. Unspoken Power. A crucial aspect of those who speak less and command more respect. You might have noticed how some individuals walk into a room and immediately capture attention without uttering a single word. They don't need to be loud to make their presence known. It's as though their silence itself speaks volumes. This, my friend, is silent authority, an unspoken power that comes from confidence, wisdom, and the ability to control one's words and actions. The ancient Stoics, who mastered the art of silence, understood that authority doesn't come from dominating conversations or overpowering others verbally. Instead, it stems from an inner calm, a kind of quiet strength that resonates through their presence. One of the reasons silent authority is so effective is because it builds trust. People are naturally drawn to those who don't feel the need to constantly fill the air with words. This restraint shows control, thoughtfulness, and the ability to listen. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." By choosing silence over noise, you show humility, leaving space for others to share their thoughts while you observe, reflect, and choose your words wisely. How often do we speak out of impatience or the urge to be heard, only to realize later that silence would have served us better? In today's world, where people are constantly talking, tweeting, and sharing, silence has become a rare and powerful tool. It stands out. When you listen instead of speak, people perceive you as more attentive and intelligent. Think about the last time you were in a meeting or group setting. Did the person who spoke the most command the most respect? Or was it the person who waited, observed, and only spoke when they had something truly valuable to add? This is the essence of silent authority, letting your actions, presence, and carefully chosen words speak for you. In fact, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius advised, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." When we talk about unspoken power, we're not just referring to the act of not speaking. It's about cultivating a sense of calm and control within yourself. It's about mastering your emotions, your reactions, and your responses to external events. This internal mastery radiates outward and creates an aura of authority that doesn't need to be verbalized. Think about some of the most respected leaders in history, whether in business, politics, or social movements. Often, their most impactful moments weren't loud speeches or fiery debates, but rather moments of quiet confidence where their actions spoke louder than any words could. Why do you think that is? It's because silence gives you power, the power to observe, reflect, and act decisively without the need for excessive explanation. But how do you cultivate this silent authority in your own life? First, it's important to practice patience. Silence allows you to avoid making rash decisions or reacting impulsively. It gives you the time to think, to process, and to respond in a way that aligns with your true values. The Stoics believed deeply in this principle. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, said, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." This means that by controlling your urge to speak or react, you gain authority not just over others, but over yourself. Second, consider how silence can make you a better listener. In a world filled with distractions, where everyone seems to be talking over each other, listening has become a lost art. Yet, by truly listening to others, you gain deeper insights into their motives, their emotions, and their needs. This positions you to respond in a way that resonates with them, rather than just adding more noise to the conversation. The next time you're in a discussion, ask yourself, am I truly listening, or am I just waiting for my turn to speak? By genuinely listening, you gain respect and authority without saying much at all. Another key aspect of silent authority is understanding the power of nonverbal communication. Your body language, eye contact, and demeanor can convey just as much, if not more, than your words. By maintaining a calm, confident posture and steady eye contact, you can project strength and authority without needing to say a word. Think about how many times you've been influenced by someone's nonverbal cues rather than their actual speech. Isn't it true that sometimes the most powerful messages are delivered without words? Now let's tie this to modern life. In our digital age, where communication happens at lightning speed, people often feel pressured to respond immediately, to keep up with the fast-paced flow of information. But silence can be a game changer here too. Just because someone sends you a text or an email doesn't mean you have to respond right away. Sometimes, taking a moment to pause before replying gives you the time to craft a more thoughtful and impactful response. The same applies to social media, where silence can often speak louder than engaging in every debate or argument. By choosing when and how to engage, you maintain control over the narrative. So, how can you implement silent authority in your everyday life? Start by embracing moments of stillness. Practice mindfulness or meditation to develop a sense of calm. When you feel the urge to speak, pause and ask yourself if what you're about to say truly adds value. And most importantly, recognize that silence is not emptiness. It's a space where thought, reflection, and wisdom can grow. As you cultivate this skill, you'll notice how people begin to respond to you differently. They'll respect your words more because they know you don't speak unless it's truly worth saying. Reflect on this. What would happen if you spoke less and observed more? How would it change the way people perceive you? By mastering the art of silent authority, you can lead without shouting, influence without arguing, and command respect without needing to demand it. This, my friend, is the true power of silence. Let's carry this principle forward into our lives, knowing that our greatest strength often lies in what we choose not to say. Lesson 4. Inner Strength, the Quiet Power Within. We often think of strength as something loud and forceful, a show of might and dominance. But true inner strength is much quieter. It's about resilience, self-control, and the ability to remain composed under pressure. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. This quiet power is what truly separates those who are guided by Stoic principles from the rest. Those who speak less and act with purpose often command more respect and authority, because their strength comes from within, not from a need to prove themselves to others. When you think about inner strength, it's important to understand that this quality is not about reacting to every challenge or confrontation with aggression or volume. It's about having the discipline to choose your responses wisely. In today's fast-paced world, filled with distractions, competition, and endless pressures, men often feel the need to constantly be on the defensive or to assert themselves loudly to be heard. But paradoxically, the more you seek validation from others, the more you diminish your own inner strength. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic Roman emperor, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is a profound reminder that real power lies in controlling how you respond to life's challenges, not in trying to control or dominate external circumstances. Inner strength is about mastering yourself, your emotions, your impulses, and your thoughts. Take, for instance, the modern workplace. A colleague might try to undermine your efforts or take credit for your ideas. The immediate reaction might be to confront them, argue, or defend yourself verbally. However, a man who possesses inner strength knows that his true value isn't diminished by someone else's actions. He remains calm, responds only when necessary, and allows his work to speak for itself. In the end, his quiet confidence and ability to control his reactions will earn him more respect than any heated exchange ever could. It's the man who stays composed in moments of chaos who ultimately commands the room, not the one who yells the loudest. This leads us to the next point. Inner strength is a kind of quiet confidence. It's about knowing who you are and what you stand for, without needing constant affirmation. We live in a time where social media and societal pressures often push men to prove their worth by showcasing their successes, wealth, or physical strength. But as the Stoics taught, real strength comes from knowing yourself deeply and standing firm in your values. "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor," said Seneca. Inner strength isn't about accumulating more things or achieving external success. It's about being content with who you are and what you have. It's about valuing self-respect over external recognition. In modern life, this principle applies in various ways. Think about how often men are pressured to conform to certain standards or to act in a way that doesn't align with their true nature. Whether it's in business, relationships, or personal achievements, society tells men that they must constantly strive for more money, more status, more possessions. But this relentless pursuit often leads to burnout and dissatisfaction. The man who embodies Stoic inner strength, however, understands that contentment and fulfillment come from within. He doesn't chase after what others think he should value. Instead, he focuses on living according to his own principles, knowing that true strength comes from inner peace, not external success. Let's also consider how inner strength plays a crucial role in relationships. Many men feel the need to dominate or control their partners to feel powerful. But true strength in a relationship comes from the ability to listen, to be patient, and to provide support without overpowering the other person. As Epictetus wisely said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In moments of conflict, a man with inner strength remains calm, focuses on understanding, and doesn't let his ego dictate his actions. This kind of strength fosters deeper connections and mutual respect, as opposed to relationships built on control or dominance. Finally, inner strength is essential when facing adversity. Life inevitably throws challenges our way, whether it's losing a job, dealing with health issues, or experiencing personal loss. How do you react when life knocks you down? Do you crumble under the pressure, or do you draw on your inner strength to keep moving forward? The Stoics believed that adversity is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced as an opportunity for growth. As Marcus Aurelius put it, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. When you develop inner strength, you understand that setbacks are temporary, and that your ability to persevere in the face of difficulty defines your character. So, how can you cultivate this quiet power within yourself? Start by reflecting on what truly matters to you. Are you living according to your own values, or are you constantly seeking approval from others? Practice self-discipline in your daily life. Whether it's controlling your temper in stressful situations or resisting the urge to speak out when silence would serve you better. Remember that true strength is not about overpowering others, but about mastering yourself. When you learn to control your emotions, your reactions, and your desires, you develop a kind of strength that can't be shaken by external events. Thank you for being part of today's video. Before we dive deeper into the next segment, I just want to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude for your presence in this community. It's amazing to have you here. Please feel free to share your personal insights or impressions in the comments below. If you're new, simply comment, "I am a newbie." Or if you've been following along with us, write, "I am Stoic." Your engagement means the world to us, and is truly a huge source of motivation to keep delivering content that helps us all grow. Now let's continue this journey together, shall we? Lesson 5. Humility over pride, the Stoic way. In today's world, where success is often measured by wealth, status, and outward accomplishments, the quiet power of humility is frequently overlooked. Yet, it is humility that forms the foundation of true strength. The Stoics understood that pride is a dangerous trap, one that blinds us to our own limitations and makes us vulnerable to failure. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, reminds us, "It is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness." Humility is that road. It's the understanding that no matter how much we know or achieve, there is always room for growth. It's about acknowledging our imperfections, learning from our mistakes, and being open to the wisdom of others. In a society that often pushes men to project an image of invincibility, humility can seem counterintuitive. We're taught to assert ourselves, to take pride in our accomplishments, and to strive for recognition. But the truth is, pride is fragile. When we base our self-worth on external validation, we are at the mercy of others' opinions. Humility, on the other hand, is solid and unshakable. It comes from within and isn't swayed by the praise or criticism of others. A man who practices humility doesn't need to boast about his successes or defend himself against every slight, because he knows that his worth isn't defined by others. As Epictetus wisely said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This quote emphasizes that growth requires us to let go of our ego and embrace humility, even when it's uncomfortable. In modern life, humility plays a critical role in both personal and professional success. Let me tell you a story about a CEO I once knew, a man who led a thriving business but was always quick to credit his team for their hard work. He didn't let his title or his wealth define him. Instead, he remained grounded and approachable, always willing to listen and learn. His humility earned him the respect and loyalty of his employees, and his company flourished because of it. Contrast that with leaders who let pride take over, those who refuse to admit mistakes or share credit. They may achieve short-term success, but over time, their inability to practice humility leads to their downfall. Why? Because pride isolates you, making it hard to connect with others or see beyond your own perspective. Now think about how humility impacts relationships. Whether in friendships, romantic partnerships, or family dynamics, pride often gets in the way of true connection. We've all had moments where we've let our ego dictate our actions, where we refused to apologize even when we knew we were wrong, or where we held on to resentment because admitting our faults seemed too difficult. But humility allows us to break through those barriers. It enables us to put aside our pride and be vulnerable, which fosters deeper trust and understanding. As Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic Roman emperor, said, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." This quote beautifully captures the essence of humility: accepting what comes your way without letting it inflate your ego, and letting go of what doesn't serve you without being bitter or prideful. So how can we practice humility in a world that often rewards arrogance and pride? It starts with self-awareness. Ask yourself, are you open to learning from others, even those you might consider less experienced or knowledgeable? Do you find it difficult to admit when you're wrong? Humility requires us to regularly examine our thoughts and actions, recognizing when our ego is getting in the way. It's about being comfortable with the idea that we don't have all the answers and that sometimes the best way to grow is by listening rather than speaking. This might mean admitting that we need help or acknowledging that someone else has a better idea or solution. Furthermore, humility isn't about thinking less of yourself. It's about thinking of yourself less. It's about shifting the focus from self-centered pride to a broader perspective that includes the needs and contributions of others. In today's workplace, for instance, the most effective leaders are often those who practice servant leadership, prioritizing the well-being and development of their teams over their own ego-driven goals. These leaders understand that humility creates an environment of collaboration and mutual respect, where everyone feels valued and heard. Let's also consider how humility affects our personal growth. When we are humble, we are more likely to seek feedback, reflect on our shortcomings, and continuously improve. This contrasts sharply with prideful individuals who are often too focused on preserving their image to acknowledge areas where they need to grow. The Stoics taught that wisdom comes from recognizing our own ignorance, that the more we learn, the more we realize how much we still don't know. By embracing this mindset, we stay open to learning and evolving rather than stagnating in our pride. The lesson of humility over pride is not just about being humble for the sake of others. It's about finding true strength and contentment within yourself. It's about realizing that humility allows you to build stronger connections, make better decisions, and lead a more fulfilling life. As we move forward, ask yourself, how can you practice humility in your daily life? Where can you let go of pride and embrace a more open, self-aware approach? By choosing humility, you align yourself with the Stoic way of living, a way that leads to inner peace, resilience, and genuine greatness. Lesson 6. Silence in negotiations. A quiet power play. In a world where words seem to dominate, silence can often be seen as a sign of weakness, passivity, or lack of confidence. But what if I told you that silence, when used strategically, is actually one of the most powerful tools in negotiations? It allows you to observe, assess, and react with precision, creating a dynamic where the other party feels compelled to fill the gap. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This principle holds true in any negotiation. By remaining silent at key moments, you give yourself the upper hand, not by dominating the conversation, but by mastering the art of observation and patience. Silence during negotiations isn't about being passive or disengaged. Instead, it's a tactical move that shows you're in control. When you resist the urge to immediately respond or rush to fill the silence, it puts pressure on the other party to speak, often revealing more information or giving away their true position. This is especially useful when you're discussing terms like salary, contracts, or deals where emotions and stakes can run high. Silence allows you to remain calm and collected, giving you the time to think and process without being swept up in the momentum of the discussion. Think about it. How many times have you been in a negotiation where the silence became uncomfortable? Perhaps it was during a job interview or when discussing a large purchase. The natural reaction is to fill the silence, but that's when people often make unnecessary concessions or reveal too much. In these moments, silence becomes your quiet power play. Let's take a real-world example. Imagine you're in a meeting negotiating a business deal, and after you've stated your offer, the other party remains silent. Most people would feel the need to start justifying their offer, adding more points, or lowering their price out of discomfort with the quiet. But the person who speaks less and waits often gains the upper hand. They are the ones gathering information, reading the room, and allowing the other side to make the first move. This is where silence shines. It forces the other party to reveal their hand, to explain their position more thoroughly, or even to adjust their terms just to break the quiet. This strategic pause can be a game changer in negotiations. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Silence helps you exercise this power by allowing you to control your thoughts, remain composed, and choose your next move carefully. But why is silence so uncomfortable in the first place? Our modern world is so fast-paced and noisy that silence often feels unnatural or awkward. We've been conditioned to associate talking with action and assertiveness. But silence can be much more powerful because it makes the other person unsure of what you're thinking, which can lead them to reveal more than they intended. This subtle manipulation of the conversation doesn't mean you're being deceitful. Rather, you're using silence as a tool to create space for thoughtful reflection and better decision-making. And as Seneca said, as long as you live, keep learning how to live. In negotiations, silence teaches you to listen and learn more than speaking ever could. Incorporating silence into your negotiation strategy doesn't mean you never speak or contribute to the conversation. Instead, it's about choosing the right moments to remain quiet. For example, after you make a strong point or lay down an offer, resist the temptation to immediately justify or elaborate on it. Let the other person sit with your words. This pause gives weight to what you've said and allows it to sink in. It also prevents you from over-explaining or weakening your position. Silence can be especially useful when the other party is trying to rush you into a decision. By pausing, you slow down the conversation and regain control, showing that you're not easily swayed or pressured. The power of silence in these situations is that it communicates confidence and composure, which are essential in any successful negotiation. So how can you apply this concept in your own life? Start by practicing active listening. In your next negotiation, whether it's for a raise at work, a personal relationship, or even making a purchase, try to speak less and listen more. Notice how the other person reacts to the silence. Pay attention to the information they reveal when they feel compelled to fill the quiet space. You might be surprised at how much you learn just by allowing silence to do the heavy lifting for you. The Stoic approach to life emphasizes rationality, patience, and control, qualities that are perfectly suited for mastering the art of silence in negotiations. Ask yourself, how can you use silence to your advantage? What can you learn by listening more and speaking less? Silence in negotiations is about creating balance. It allows you to remain calm and thoughtful, even in high-pressure situations. It helps you gather information, understand the other party's position, and make more informed decisions. And perhaps most importantly, it gives you the confidence to know that you don't need to dominate a conversation to succeed. You simply need to know when to speak and when to listen. As you approach your next negotiation, remember that silence is not the absence of communication. It's a form of communication itself, one that speaks to your strength, your control, and your ability to navigate even the most challenging discussions with grace and strategy. Let silence be your power play. Lesson 7. Stoic kindness, compassion in action. Many people mistakenly believe that Stoicism is about being emotionless or detached, but true Stoicism emphasizes a deep connection to humanity and an understanding of our shared existence. Stoic kindness is not about grand gestures or public displays of generosity, but about quietly and consistently offering support, empathy, and compassion to others. As Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." Stoic kindness is rooted in action, in doing what is right without the need for recognition or praise. It's about embodying virtue in your everyday interactions, whether big or small, and understanding that kindness is a reflection of inner strength, not weakness. In modern life, where people are often preoccupied with their own ambitions, practicing kindness can feel like a rare and undervalued skill. But as men who are learning about Stoicism, you understand that real power comes from within, and part of that power is the ability to act with compassion, even when it's inconvenient or difficult. Stoic kindness isn't about being overly emotional or letting others take advantage of you. It's about being grounded in your principles and using kindness as a tool to connect with others and make the world a better place. Think about it. How many times have you been in a situation where a simple act of kindness, like listening without interrupting or offering help without expecting anything in return, changed the entire dynamic of the conversation or relationship. That's the quiet power of Stoic kindness. It doesn't need to shout to be heard. One of the most important aspects of Stoic kindness is understanding that we are all part of the same human community. The Stoics believed that we are all interconnected and that our actions towards others have a ripple effect. Epictetus said, "No man is an island, entire of itself." This means that how we treat others directly influences the fabric of society. When we practice kindness, we contribute to the greater good. Stoic kindness encourages us to be mindful of how our actions impact the people around us. In today's fast-paced world, where many people feel isolated and disconnected, small acts of kindness, like showing patience in traffic, offering a genuine compliment, or giving someone your full attention, can have a profound impact. These acts don't just help others. They also strengthen your own character and reinforce your commitment to living a virtuous life. Let's take this concept a step further and relate it to the workplace, where competition and individual achievement often take precedence over cooperation and empathy. A man who practices Stoic kindness at work doesn't just look out for his own success. He lifts others up along the way. Whether it's mentoring a junior colleague, offering support during a challenging project, or simply being considerate in meetings, Stoic kindness in the workplace builds stronger teams and fosters respect. When you act with compassion, people notice. They see you as someone who leads with integrity, someone they can trust. And this trust in turn helps you become more successful in your career, not because you're manipulating others with kindness, but because people naturally gravitate towards those who make them feel valued. Now, this doesn't mean you should always put others' needs ahead of your own or allow yourself to be taken advantage of. Stoic kindness is about balance. It's about offering help where it's needed, but also knowing when to step back and focus on your own well-being. Seneca reminds us, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. In moments when you are overwhelmed or struggling, being kind to yourself is just as important as being kind to others. Stoicism teaches us that taking care of our mental and emotional health allows us to be more effective in helping those around us. So, don't forget that self-compassion is a vital part of Stoic kindness. In your personal relationships, practicing Stoic kindness can help build deeper connections and foster mutual respect. Often the people closest to us can be the most challenging to deal with, as emotions run high and conflicts arise. In these moments, it's easy to let pride or frustration dictate your actions. But Stoicism teaches us to rise above our immediate emotions and to approach situations with patience and understanding. Instead of reacting in anger or shutting down communication, take a moment to consider the other person's perspective. As Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Listening without the need to immediately assert your own opinion is an act of kindness that can transform how conflicts are resolved. So how can you apply Stoic kindness in your daily life? Start by being present in your interactions. Pay attention to the people around you and look for opportunities to offer support, even in small ways. Whether it's holding the door open for someone, offering a word of encouragement, or simply smiling at a stranger, these small gestures create a ripple effect of kindness that extends beyond the immediate moment. And remember, true kindness doesn't seek reward or recognition. It is given freely because it's the right thing to do. Ask yourself, how can I be more compassionate in my relationships, my work, and my community? How can I practice Stoic kindness even when it feels difficult or uncomfortable? Stoic kindness is about living with integrity and aligning your actions with your values. It's about understanding that being kind isn't a sign of weakness, but a reflection of inner strength and wisdom. As you move forward in your journey of self-improvement through Stoicism, remember that the way you treat others is a direct reflection of the person you're becoming. Practicing kindness not only makes you a better man, but it also helps build a better world. And as Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, respond to cruelty and negativity not with anger or retaliation, but with compassion, for it is in kindness that true power lies. If you've made it this far, you're embracing the quiet power of Stoicism. Drop a comment saying, "I am learning," to show you're committed to this journey of wisdom and inner strength. Stick around, there's much more to come. Lesson 8. Deep Listening, True Stoic Connection. We often think that being heard is about having something important to say, but the truth is, being a good listener is far more impactful than dominating conversations with words. Deep listening is not just about hearing sounds or waiting for your turn to speak. It's about fully engaging with the person in front of you, understanding not just their words, but their emotions, intentions, and even what they may not be saying. As Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This quote perfectly captures the essence of this lesson. Listening is a skill that requires practice, patience, and intention, and when done correctly, it builds a connection that transcends surface-level conversations. In today's world, where distractions are endless, and conversations often happen through quick texts or social media exchanges, deep listening is more important than ever. It's a way to show that you truly care about what the other person is saying, not just waiting for your moment to talk. Have you ever noticed how much more connected you feel to someone who listens intently, who gives you their undivided attention? Contrast that with the experience of talking to someone who keeps glancing at their phone, nodding absent-mindedly, or interrupting you mid-sentence. It's clear which one leaves a lasting impression and builds stronger relationships. Listening, in the Stoic sense, is not just about gathering information. It's about empathy, respect, and understanding that every person we encounter has something valuable to share, even if it's not immediately obvious. Think about the last time you were in a meaningful conversation. Were you truly present, or were you formulating your next response while the other person was still speaking? This tendency to rush to respond is common, especially in heated discussions or debates. But what if, instead of thinking of what you want to say next, you allowed yourself to really absorb what the other person is expressing? This level of listening requires you to set aside your ego and focus fully on the speaker. By doing this, you not only honor the other person's perspective, but you also gain insights that you might have missed if you were too busy preparing your reply. This is the heart of deep listening. It requires humility and the willingness to learn, not just from experts or people we admire, but from everyone we encounter. It's about recognizing that wisdom can come from all corners of life, and we miss it if we don't take the time to truly listen. There's a story of a successful leader in a high-stakes business who, during board meetings, rarely spoke. While others would argue and push their points aggressively, this leader would sit quietly, absorbing everything. When he finally did speak, it was clear, concise, and to the point, often cutting through the noise of the discussion. His power didn't come from saying more, it came from saying the right things, and that was only possible because he had mastered the art of deep listening. He understood that by listening to others fully, he could see the bigger picture, catch details others missed, and make more informed decisions. His presence was respected not because of how often he spoke, but because of the value of his words when he did. This is how deep listening becomes a tool of influence and power. It allows you to contribute meaningfully, while others may waste their breath on superficial arguments. You might be thinking, how can I apply deep listening in my daily life? Start small. In your next conversation, whether it's with a friend, family member, or colleague, practice giving them your full attention. Put away distractions like your phone or laptop. Make eye contact. Don't interrupt. Instead of thinking about your next response, focus entirely on understanding their point of view. Ask questions to clarify what they mean, and try to understand the emotions behind their words. When you do this, you'll find that the conversation flows more naturally, and the person you're speaking with will feel truly heard. This creates a deeper connection, one that goes beyond surface-level exchanges and builds trust and respect over time. Deep listening also has a powerful impact on conflict resolution. When emotions are running high, Our instinct is often to defend ourselves or make our point as quickly as possible. But Stoicism teaches us to take a step back and listen. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." This mindset allows us to approach disagreements with curiosity rather than defensiveness. Instead of rushing to prove the other person wrong, ask yourself, what can I learn from their perspective? By listening deeply, you might find common ground, or at the very least, you'll show respect for their viewpoint, which can diffuse tension and lead to more constructive dialogue. In modern life, where multitasking and rapid communication have become the norm, practicing deep listening is a rare but valuable skill. It's not just about being polite, it's about forming genuine connections, whether in your personal relationships, your professional life, or even in casual interactions. Listening deeply shows that you value the other person, that you're open to learning from them, and that you're not just waiting for your turn to speak. It's a practice that requires mindfulness and presence, but the rewards are immense. You'll find that people will trust you more, confide in you, and respect your opinions because they know you're someone who listens before you speak. So, here's a question for you. How can you practice deep listening in your interactions today? What conversations are you having where you could benefit from slowing down and truly absorbing what the other person is saying? By applying the principles of deep listening, you'll notice a shift in how others respond to you. You'll build stronger, more meaningful relationships, and you'll find that your own contributions to conversations become more insightful. Deep listening isn't just about understanding others. It's about connecting with them on a deeper level and fostering a sense of community and respect. As you move forward, remember that speaking less and listening more is not a sign of passivity, but a powerful tool for growth, influence, and connection. Embrace the wisdom of the Stoics and let deep listening guide you toward more meaningful interactions in every area of your life. Lesson 9. Reflective Wisdom, the Path to Insight. Reflective wisdom is about taking the time to look inward, assess your thoughts, actions, and motivations, and then learn from your experiences. It's a process that doesn't happen quickly or on the surface. Instead, it requires patience, a willingness to sit with discomfort, and an openness to change. As the Stoic philosopher Socrates famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." This quote captures the essence of reflective wisdom. It's not enough to simply go through life reacting to events and circumstances. To grow, to gain insight, and to truly understand yourself and the world, you must make reflection a regular part of your life. Reflective wisdom is different from simply thinking or pondering. It's a deliberate and structured way of looking back on your decisions, actions, and thoughts, with the goal of learning something meaningful. It involves asking yourself tough questions, such as, what could I have done differently? Or, what lesson did I miss in this experience? In a world where people are constantly moving, reacting, and trying to stay ahead, taking the time to reflect can feel like a luxury. But the Stoics knew that without reflection, we are doomed to repeat the same mistakes and miss opportunities for growth. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic Roman emperor, practiced reflective wisdom every night by journaling about his day. He wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This simple act of writing helped him clarify his thoughts and refocus on what truly mattered. How often do you take time out of your busy day to reflect on your actions? Many people rush from task to task, barely pausing to consider how they are living or what they are learning from their experiences. Reflective wisdom is about slowing down, even for a few minutes each day, and asking yourself, what did I learn today? Or, how did my actions reflect my values? By doing this, you begin to see patterns in your behavior, both positive and negative, and gain the insight needed to improve. This kind of reflection isn't about dwelling on the past or beating yourself up over mistakes. Instead, It's about using your experiences as tools for growth. The more you reflect, the more wisdom you gain, and the more you can apply that wisdom to your life moving forward. Let's consider a real-world example. Think about someone who constantly jumps into arguments, defending their position without listening to others. They may feel justified in the moment, but without reflection, they miss the opportunity to understand why they were so quick to react, or how they could have approached the situation differently. Now imagine if that same person took a few minutes each evening to reflect on their day. They might realize that their quick temper stemmed from something deeper, perhaps insecurity or fear of being wrong. By acknowledging this, they could begin to change their behavior, approaching future disagreements with more patience and understanding. This is the power of reflective wisdom. It helps you see the underlying causes of your actions and offers a path toward improvement. In modern life, the distractions are endless: social media, news, work, family obligations. It's easy to get caught up in the noise and forget to reflect on what truly matters. But reflective wisdom isn't about shutting off the outside world. It's about making space within yourself to process and learn from your experiences. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." This lifelong journey of learning requires regular reflection, not just after big decisions or major events, but in the small moments too. Each day presents opportunities for growth, but without reflection, those opportunities are often lost. So how can you start incorporating reflective wisdom into your life? Begin by setting aside a few minutes each day, perhaps in the morning or before bed, to think about your day. Ask yourself questions like, what went well today? Or, what could I have done better? You don't need to write down every detail, but keeping a journal can help organize your thoughts and give you something to look back on. Over time, you'll start to notice patterns in your behavior and see how your thoughts shape your actions. This awareness is the first step toward true insight and personal growth. As you reflect, also consider how your actions align with your values. Are you living according to the principles you believe in, or are you letting external pressures dictate your decisions? Reflective wisdom helps you course correct when you've strayed from your values and reinforces the behaviors that bring you closer to the person you want to be. In addition to daily reflection, make time for deeper reflection periodically. This could be at the end of each week, month, or year. During these sessions, look at the bigger picture. How have you changed over the past weeks or months? What goals have you achieved, and where do you still need to grow? This kind of long-term reflection helps you track your progress and stay focused on your larger goals. It's easy to lose sight of the big picture when you're caught up in the daily grind, but reflective wisdom keeps you grounded and reminds you of what's truly important. Now here's a question to consider. What have you learned from your experiences this week? Have you taken the time to reflect on them, or have you simply moved from one task to the next without pause? Reflective wisdom encourages you to stop, think, and learn from your life as it unfolds. It's a tool for growth that can transform how you approach challenges, relationships, and even success. By practicing reflective wisdom, you gain insight into yourself, your motivations, and the world around you, helping you make better decisions and live a more intentional, meaningful life. The key takeaway is that reflective wisdom isn't something reserved for philosophers or scholars. It's a tool that anyone can use to improve their life. By making reflection a habit, you open the door to deeper understanding and personal growth. The more you practice, the more insight you'll gain, and the better equipped you'll be to navigate the challenges of life with clarity and purpose. As you move forward, remember that reflection is not about dwelling on mistakes or overanalyzing every decision. It's about learning, growing, and becoming wiser with each experience. So, take a moment today to reflect and see what insights you uncover. Lesson 10. Resilience through Stoicism. Bounce back stronger. Resilience is the ability to recover from setbacks, to face adversity head-on, and to emerge stronger than before. In Stoicism, resilience isn't just about enduring hardships, It's about transforming them into opportunities for growth. This is what sets Stoicism apart from other philosophies. It doesn't seek to eliminate pain or struggle, but rather teaches us how to respond to them in ways that build character and strength. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This powerful quote illustrates that obstacles are not just barriers to success. They are the very things that help us grow and improve. Resilience is about adopting a mindset that views challenges as stepping stones rather than roadblocks. For men in today's fast-paced, high-pressure world, resilience is more important than ever. Life can throw unexpected situations your way, whether it's losing a job, going through a difficult relationship, or facing financial challenges. These experiences can knock you down, but what truly matters is how you get back up. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control external events, but we can control how we respond to them. This is a fundamental principle of resilience. As Epictetus said, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. By accepting what we cannot change and focusing on what we can, we regain control over our lives and begin to cultivate resilience. Let's consider a modern example. You've been working hard at your job, putting in long hours, and suddenly you're laid off due to budget cuts. This situation could easily lead to despair, frustration, and a sense of failure. But if you approach this situation with a stoic mindset, you would acknowledge the reality of the situation, recognize that losing the job is beyond your control, and focus instead on how you can move forward. Maybe this is an opportunity to explore new career paths, learn new skills, or even start a business. Resilience isn't about denying the pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about facing the discomfort, learning from it, and using it as fuel to propel yourself toward a new direction. This approach helps you turn adversity into a stepping stone for future success. Stoic resilience also involves developing emotional discipline. When life doesn't go our way, the natural reaction is often frustration, anger, or sadness. These emotions, while normal, can cloud our judgment and lead to poor decision-making. Stoicism teaches us to acknowledge these emotions but not be controlled by them. Instead, we learn to step back, take a breath, and assess the situation with calm and clarity. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions, but rather mastering them in a way that allows you to respond to challenges with wisdom and strength. Think of it like being the captain of a ship, navigating through a storm. You don't panic. You remain focused on steering the ship through the waves, knowing that the storm will pass and calmer waters lie ahead. The Stoics believed that our true power lies in this ability to remain composed, even when the world around us feels chaotic. In modern life, this kind of resilience can make a huge difference, not just in how we handle major setbacks, but also in how we deal with the smaller everyday frustrations. Maybe it's dealing with difficult colleagues at work, managing stress at home, or facing disappointment when things don't turn out the way you hoped. These situations, though smaller than life-altering events, still require resilience. By practicing Stoic principles, you train yourself to handle these situations with grace and composure, which strengthens your ability to bounce back when larger challenges come your way. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." This reinforces the idea that resilience is a skill we develop by going through adversity, much like how muscles grow stronger through resistance training. One of the key elements of building resilience is focusing on what is within your control. Often, we waste energy worrying about things that are completely out of our hands, what other people think, the economy, or past mistakes. But Stoicism teaches that resilience comes from directing your energy toward the things you can influence, such as your mindset, your actions, and your response to life's challenges. This shift in focus not only reduces unnecessary stress but also empowers you to take meaningful action where it matters most. You may not be able to change the circumstances, but you can always choose your response, and in that choice lies your true strength. Now you may be asking, how do I practice resilience in my daily life? It starts with adopting a Stoic mindset, one that accepts the reality of challenges but refuses to be defeated by them. When faced with difficulties, remind yourself that these moments are opportunities for growth. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Or, how can I use this situation to become stronger? By reframing challenges in this way, you shift your perspective from one of victimhood to one of empowerment. This mental shift is at the core of Stoic resilience. It's not about avoiding pain or hardship, but about learning how to thrive in the face of it. Another practical way to cultivate resilience is through daily reflection. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the importance of reviewing his day, considering what went well and where he could improve. By taking a few minutes each day to reflect on your actions and reactions, you develop greater self-awareness and emotional control. This practice helps you build resilience by allowing you to learn from your mistakes and make adjustments for the future. Over time, you'll find that your ability to bounce back from setbacks becomes second nature, and you'll approach life's challenges with greater confidence and clarity. Remember that resilience is not a trait you're born with. It's a skill you develop through practice. Every challenge you face, no matter how big or small, is an opportunity to strengthen your resilience. By applying Stoic principles, you learn to view adversity not as something to fear, but as something to embrace. The Stoics understood that life is unpredictable, but they also knew that our ability to respond with resilience is what defines our character. As you move forward, consider how you can apply these lessons in your own life. When challenges arise, will you let them defeat you, or will you choose to bounce back stronger, using the obstacles as fuel for your personal growth? The choice is yours, and in that choice, you'll find the resilience to face whatever life throws your way. As we wrap up today's video on the 10 traits of people who speak less, I hope you feel empowered to start incorporating these principles into your daily life. Whether it's practicing mindful silence, building inner strength, or approaching life with calm and resilience, these Stoic traits can truly transform the way you live. Personal growth and happiness are within your reach when you focus on what you can control and let go of unnecessary noise. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What trait stood out the most for you? How do you plan to apply it in your life? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who could benefit from these lessons. Together, let's continue to grow on this Stoic journey. Thanks for watching Stoic in Your Life.